Okay, so you have to power your mic.
You're on. So if the red light is on, it means we're on. Yeah. Okay. Red means stop. I was expecting green.
Mr. Co-Chair?
Would you like for me to run the meeting?
Why not? If you feel up to it.
I run a lot of meetings.
I know you do. I could sure do it if you would rather not.
You what?
I can do it if you'd rather not.
Go for it.
All right.
Be the chairwoman.
Well, it is after 4 o'clock, so I call to order the Port Scott Parks Advisory Board meeting. Would we like to start with the pledge?
We're going to flex salute. It's not on the agenda.
It is?
It's not.
Oh.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Nice job.
Well, you know, if you're going to deviate, you might as well do it at the very beginning. Okay, I'm going to deviate again. I would like to welcome our new members. Troy, how do you pronounce your last name? McClellan. And Christopher Catalano. Thank you both for joining us.
Can I add something to that?
Yes.
It's very interesting when we had your names in front of us a few months ago. Both letters were written so well, and we knew both of you were very interested in doing it, but we only had one position open. So rather than making a recommendation to the commission, we sent both names and said, "You guys choose." And what they did is they made us a 7-board member instead of a 7-member board instead of a 5-member board. So both of you come on. Now we have another spot open, and we have 2 for it as well.
I don't know that if we send it up to them for both, that they do
We
that
have to
again.
decide on
Yeah.
this one.
Yep. And we have one. Yes, I was just mentioning that we have one member that's not here, Madison Jones, that you'll likely meet next time. So, do you mind doing roll call?
Frank Halsey,
Yes.
Jana Walker,
Yes.
Seth Needham,
Yes.
Troy McLaughlin,
Yes.
and Christopher Catalano.
Thank you. Number 1 is an update on Gun Park restroom facilities. And so Brad or Kelly probably want to address that.
I have a question. Are we required to approve minutes?
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, I'm just wondering. I mean,
We usually do.
okay.
Okay.
I just didn't know if it was,
Yeah.
I have it off of your agenda.
but it was just suggested items.
Well, and since they were sent out prior to, I'm sorry, I did not. Did you all receive the prior minutes? Did you have any questions or no? Okay. So were there any corrections that anyone had?
No, I would
No.
like to refer to them when we get into some of the detail. Just ask about, because some of these are ongoing items, but we're going to get, they're kind of on the agenda as well. So I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
Roll call, please. I'm sorry.
Voting.
Okay. Thanks.
Frank Halsey,
Yes.
Jana Walker,
Yes.
Seth Needham,
Yes.
Troy McLaughlin, Christopher Catalano.
Thank you. Okay, so now we're up to our update on the Gun Park restroom facilities. Kelly?
Well, Brad and I went out and looked at all the restroom facilities, and we think we want to kind of do a lot of renovating. I think they're salvageable. We do have roof metal for some of the other ones. We kind of broke them down into projects and what we'd like to do and what we'd like to see. I think number 4, we want to probably put metal on the outside of and probably pump the tank and inspect it. We're also looking at, when I say the holding tank, we're looking at getting a mobile Vactor trailer so we can start doing our own restrooms, and even the possibility where we have special activities, maybe get off into doing more of the porta potties as a city. So we're trying to get a little more self-sustaining that way. Plus, we need that mobility and a second Vactor for other projects. So we looked at the shower facility. We want to, down there by the camping area where the RVs are, we think we want to put showers in there. Go ahead and put a shower facility, probably repair the floor and put epoxy on it. I think probably we want to do the wood siding is in pretty poor repair. We talked about the possibility of just jerking off the wood siding and sealing the walls and painting them probably inside and out. And then we also looked at probably want to put a new bathroom up by the offices. That's probably not a this year project, but we wanted to probably look at renovating, and then was it number 7 also that we want to put a roof on, I think, a metal roof on it. So three bathroom areas we want to probably look at renovating them and getting better flushing facilities. We'll probably look at, I think we're looking at just hand sanitized stations, things like that, so there's not such a need for such running water. We're looking at some of the auto flush toilets, things that are a little less vandalism, a little more vandalism proof, those kind of things. But we want to try to start with the bathroom areas and hit those, the ones that are existing right now, get them where we could actually manage them ourselves to pump them out and spray them down, hose them down, sanitize them, keep them kind of cleaned up. Nice.
Is there not water already run to those from when they were operable?
I don't think that there is there water to there. There is to the one down there at by the RV park, but
There's no sewer.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But there always was water to the other 2 as
Yeah.
well, because they
Yeah.
had.
Yeah, because we have toilets, and the only problem is the kids, kick the knobs off the sinks and leave the sinks running and stuff like that. So
I believe that there had there not been a sink that was in between both at the first shelter and then the one in between 3 and 4, in between the restrooms on the outside. Is there water? I mean, is there still
yeah, there's still water
capability?
capabilities there. Yeah.
Because you mentioned hand sanitizing stations, so were you meaning in lieu of maybe placing new sinks there? Or,
Yeah, that was kind of our thought, if we could maybe get by with less running water.
I know, I'm sure that in terms of vandalism and people just leaving them on, that is a problem. But I also, I would be concerned with the fact that if you have small children or something like that, it's not ideal to change them in a restroom in a park anyway, especially in the condition that ours are in. I would think that that would be a concern for me as a parent, to be able to have running water, wash my hands, wash them if they need to, besides the fact that you're in a park that there's likelihood of any kind of filth that kids could get into, that I as a parent would, love to see running water, but that's just my personal opinion.
I'm with you on this. As a parent, running water is healthy. The water's there. The lines are there. They operate. If it's a problem with people turning it on, leaving it off, you walk
You
into
could do
any
the-
gas station, they have the one where you push
Right.
it, and it runs for a minute, and then it automatically turns off.
Right.
And I think that's what we're looking at is what we have heard is the vandalism. People turn them on, leave. Here goes the water just running. So it was brought up, and that's even in the showers to develop. You push a button, you get it for a few minutes, whatever, you're done. For us to be able to pump the pits ourselves, that would be beneficial. That's why we're looking at the Vector trailer to be able to go down because people will be using more water. So they would have to be pumped out twice, 3 times as much. Of course, having young children, it's a lot nicer to go into a bathroom than not. So the sinks on the outside, I think that's just another way of vandalism. And that's what was wrong with the ones up front. I would recommend if we redid the bathrooms to put a swinging door to where you have to open them, you have to go in, you wash your hands, and it's not just sitting there where anybody can go in and do whatever they want to do. Of course, you can't really lock them, but make it to where it's not just visible for everybody to say, guess what we're going to do, and I think you really have to go to that automatic flush on everything, or you're just going to waste and have issues. On the trailer or on the campsite area, we looked at having the showers. I think it's very easy to do with the plumbing that's already down there, especially at the vac trailer, because then we can go down and pump it ourselves. And it will take some work though. We've got to do some concrete work, got to do some epoxy, and then fix the outside. But all of it's doable. It's just going to take time and a little bit of revenue source to fund it.
So talking about revenue, have you priced any of this out or have any idea on what we're looking at?
I have not.
Yeah,
Kelly,
thanks.
have you?
No, and we didn't know if we were going to try to use volunteers or get a contractor, or how y'all wanted to proceed on that, or if you guys had ideas. We did get down there and make a list of materials and things like that.
One of our previous meetings when we were talking about this, it was suggested that probably in order to get a contractor to do it, you're likely going to need somebody to draft up a set of bid documents because it's likely going to have to be bid. I didn't know if the city's engineer would be capable of doing that, if that's in his wheelhouse. To the extent that he does up some drawings and specifies the siding materials and the roofing materials and the type of toilets you're putting in and what type of shut-off water valves you're putting in and what sort of changing stations you're putting in, so that a contractor, when they're bidding the project, you're going to get apples to apples. So has that been discussed, or is that an option? Is that something that Earl's Engineering is capable of doing?
He went with us and looked at them as well. We didn't discuss that, but I'm sure they could.
And then you had also mentioned on the shower house, stripping the siding off. I'm assuming that means it must be a CMU block
It is
wall.
actually a concrete one. I don't know if it was a pour in place or what it was, but when I looked at it, I was surprised that it was a concrete structure behind it. And I was kind of shocked that they covered it with wood and, didn't do something a little more, what do you want to call long-term?
So it'd be easy enough to strip that off there and then just put a coating of some kind on On
Right.
concrete,
Right,
presumably.
correct.
I agree with the shower house plan that there's adequate room there to, it may require eliminating one of the stalls to put a shower in.
What we saw is right when you walk in, there's a opening. There's a somewhat pretty good size opening to where you could have your shower coming from the wall.
Okay.
Have it'd be small. You know, most showers are in campers. It's going to be a small walk-in, and you'll still have your existing area. You should be all right.
Is there, and I've never looked at that building close enough to know whether or not there is a separate utility room where hot water heater could be stored? Are you doing immediate hot water, or even looking at hot water?
Probably doing instant hot, yeah.
Say again?
Probably doing instant hot.
Okay.
That way there's not a tank. I've talked to a lot of the guys, and in fact, Jason we were talking about it. He said, that's the wave of getting ready your hot water tanks.
Mhm.
He said they'll carry you doing the shower and things like that. So
What would it take to get some pricing on, for example, the first bathroom when you come in? Get the door on there, get the siding, toilet, the diaper changing station, type of like a sheet good on the inside. What would it take to get pricing on that or a bid package put together?
probably not much.
Okay. What direction you guys want to go? At this point, I would like to see the city put it out for bid.
Well, I doubt we're going to get the kind of volunteer help it would take to redo one of those bathrooms.
Correct.
And so I think having to put it out for bid is about the only option we have. If Jason's capable of doing that, I guess my question would be, how can we help? We've been talking about this issue for a year and a half, and it seems like the funds are probably there for the notes we had from last meeting. We've had the sales tax in place, so there ought to be some money there to get started on some of this.
Yeah.
How can we help? I mean, we're just an advisory board, but also willing to do whatever we can if you guys need some help with this.
Okay. One thing I would ask, just from take the city, Fort Scott away, just a citizen. Myself, coming in, that shower and that bathroom down by the camp area is pretty important.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, kids coming down, playing, whatever, is very important also, but you've got people coming into Fort Scott, spending money, coming in, spending money for the city, and you walk in there and there's a crack that you fall in that deep. So I think what we would need to know is prioritize. I mean, and just like we have on the campsites, that is something that we've actually heard from is, here you raise prices on the camping, when are you going to upgrade the campsites? Well, that's in the plans that we've already drawn some up, and we just have to know when to go after it. And
So having just hosted an event that drew a lot of
Mhm.
people to town, particularly to the campground, I'll say it was embarrassing to a certain extent that the water hydrants that are there, about half of them were functioning, a couple of them were leaking pretty bad, creating some pretty big puddles. And that seems like something that would be pretty easy to fix. Just to shut the water off, go in there, have roads crew, whoever does it, public works guys go in there and just replace all 14 of them in one day. Order them in, shut the water off, get them replaced so that they're not leaking. I mean, you go down there right now and there's a puddle in the middle of the driveway because one of the hydrants is leaking. When the campers were here for the Nike race, they were asking, what do you want me to do about this? What can we do about this? And I said, you got a why? If not, I'll go get one and we'll Y off of this one and we'll cap that one just to keep it from leaking. Those are the types of things that I shouldn't have had to help them with. And it's an embarrassment to our community, I think. For me, it's an embarrassment.
Sure.
But I agree with you.
But
that
those are the
should be
types of things we need to be proactive and not reactive to something like that. I mean, we appreciate all the work you did bringing those attendees in here. That should have been done. That's on us. Yeah.
Well, and if you don't know it, then, but I mean, I'm bringing it up now and apologize. It's in a public setting, but that's just,
That's
I
okay.
remembered it. But, you know, I know there's plans for that. And I told all the campers there, I said, hey, next year when you come back, if you come back, we hope you do.
Yeah,
This campground will be better because that's in the
Yeah.
city's plans. We just didn't get it done in time.
yeah.
But those are the things that I would think can be prioritized.
Sure.
So
Those
you're
are-
asking, should we make the shower house a priority over the other restrooms? Is that what you're asking?
That is just my personal view. Yes. But, you know, I'm just coming from outside.
I think the taxpayers of Fort Scott would appreciate if we focused on their bathrooms first. Seth?
Yes.
I mean, we've been without shower house for such a long time.
The bathrooms they're bad. And it seems like a conversation that the same conversation is taking place now every meeting for the last year and a half. So what can we do to get one of them done? The people voted on this tax increase with the promise that 10% was going towards,
We'd have to
parks.
bid it out for
and
sure.
they said part of the support behind this was we're going to get some bathrooms fixed up. We're going to make this nicer. And we're coming up on, what, 9 months since it passed? And we're
We're in May,
so
yeah.
what can we do? What can we do to help get some of them going?
We definitely have to bid it out. I mean,
Okay.
that's what we'd have to do. Focus on where we want to go with it and put a bid sheet out and get it done.
Okay.
How quickly can that be done?
Well, that's these,
Yeah.
kind of like on contractor demand. I would say, you're probably looking at 9 months before you can get a bathroom redone. It's going to be probably next year before you're enjoying nice bathrooms. But that's the process. I mean, at least we're moving forward. That's the big thing is get the plans in place. I don't know if you guys want to look at them, if we get them put together before we put them out and before we solicit them. If you guys want to help with those, the people and solicitations, local contractors, I'm sure Diane has a list of those too, but some of that we can probably get that the material list put together and then let you all know in an email and try to get things moving as quickly as possible. Work on stuff like some of the hydrants, little things in the meantime. Wouldn't take much to probably strip the siding off of. That's something we could probably use volunteers for, and then coat that and maybe even paint it with volunteers. Some of that we can maybe even start on a little bit. I don't think we would need get volunteers to put metal on the outside of things or on roofs, but if we can start doing little things, it help to improve the looks of it.
Yeah, and realizing that the parks crew is like buried right now because it's mowing season.
Yeah,
And so they're not going to free up until the rains stop. And
yeah.
that's not going to be till fall.
Yeah.
So understanding that those types of activities are going to have to get prioritized.
I'll take on the fire hydrant or the water hydrant. I'll get with Bill Lemke and we'll go down there and look at that.
And I'll get with Jason and we'll get material list put together and so we can get those worked up. So
That's the type of stuff that we should be able to do while we're waiting on bids and things like that. I mean, we need to be able to maintain while we're doing that.
One thing you might consider doing is, from a contractor's perspective, when you take the bid, since the two restroom facilities are identical. Do a base bid for the one up front and then do an alternate for the second one, because you may get better pricing doing both of them at once than you do
Yeah.
for just doing one of them.
Well, I thought about that, maybe even possibly throwing the shower house in there and seeing what we could get in all three of them combined, you know, and leave that up to the contractor. Because we do, I believe, they said they have metal for the roof of the one of the other ones that's just like number 4, and then there's some other products that we might be able to use that somebody's already purchased too. So
Great.
yeah, if we could get them all done with just, and then maybe some of the outside stuff, if we could do it with volunteers, you know, and siding removal and little things like that could help out.
Well,
That'd be real.
your engineering costs would probably be reduced by doing all three of them at once rather than doing them separately as well.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Do we have any other comments or discussion about the bathroom facilities?
No.
All right. Okay, next item is the schedule. It's kind of ties in. Schedule for the campground updates, or updates on the schedule for the campground. You addressed the shower houses. I know in our 5-year plan, we had talked about the possibility of pouring a drive area instead of the rock.
Oh yeah.
You said you had, Brad, you said you had, there's plans drawn up for the camp area. Does that include that, or is that?
No, I haven't heard
Okay.
about that. No, this is basically just for the camp, you know, where the campers went,
Okay.
not the drive. I haven't heard that one.
Yeah, for the pad, talking about asphalt and concrete for the pad.
Yeah.
And changing that from 14, reducing it down to 10,
Mhm.
and we're more spacious.
Yes. Yeah, some more electricity,
Right.
you know, higher amps.
Awesome. And so, do you have any type of schedule or
That would
anyone
be,
contracted to do it?
we could do it ourselves,
Okay.
but we are on Cooper Street right now. So once we get that one going, you know, get some rain days or something where we can't work on that, then we could get our street guys to come down and help with that a little bit too.
Yeah, and a lot of that's going to really be in the off season,
Okay.
because we do not want to tear that up while we've got campers coming and going. So probably be more towards this fall. We kind of talked to our crew about that, and that's what they've recommended also would be a good time would be in the off season.
After September, please.
Correct? Yeah.
Another event in September.
Yeah.
Good.
Okay. Just while we're on, and I'm going to deviate again, while we're on Gun Park, an update on the cameras. I know that's another issue we've been talking about for a year and a half. I believe all the camera equipment is in. They finally, supply chain issues. I think they have the cameras they need. Now we are waiting for the poles to go up. We are not able, they're not able to put them on the Evergy's poles.
Okay.
And so there are specific poles that need to be put up, and I think they've gotten the auger.
We did, yeah.
And so we're just waiting for the poles in order to get the cameras going.
Kind of a one piece at a time type of thing, but we'll get there. It's been a process.
You know how many cameras we end up getting for the park?
I think there's 7 in there, Brad, or is there 5?
5.
5.
And did we end up getting cameras that are live feed, or how's that being monitored? Are they just recorded? Do we know?
It's live feed.
Okay.
No, I know the ones that IT's been working on our live feed. Yeah. Now, we did talk about, in the meantime, getting trail cams, and we have a few of those.
Especially strategic areas
Yeah,
where
rather not,
four-wheelers.
Better not say where.
Yeah. Yeah, just strategic areas.
Yeah, I'd rather not say where. But it has worked. I mean, I'll be honest.
Yeah, we've
worked.
gotten good footage so
So-
far.
I would ask too then, I know that it's like a multi-step process and you can't put them everywhere all at once, but are there, plans or have any been ordered for any of the other parks at this point?
Yes, there are plans. We have, I don't know that we've gotten we haven't, we're just jumping off. We haven't got everything all we want, but the more the guys get acclimated to it, the more cameras we're gonna have up.
Great.
Are we having vandalism problems other than Gun Park? I would
Riverfront.
assume we are.
Riverfront Park. Yes.
Yeah.
It's off-roading.
Mm-hmm.
That's the issues. And we have caught a few for down at Riverfront. So, yeah, we've had some good luck down there catching some people doing that.
I know that in the roundabout or circle area there, that it used to be an issue, and now there are large rocks there. Would that be a detriment to the mowers or anything to try and maybe strategically place some other large rocks that would prevent some of the off-roading?
We'd have to get with Paul to see where we need to put them. But no, I don't, unless he has to zigzag around them, I don't see why that would be a problem. We just have to see where that's at and see. Most of the ruts are in the back of Riverfront, and we've done some things to try to eliminate that, and it's helped. So we'll continue monitoring and see if we can catch some additional problems.
You stop mowing that like the original plan was. That would cut down on the off-roading in that
That's true.
big area. That was the original plan. And Paul would probably appreciate that.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Any other discussion on Gun Park? No, we'll move on to an update on Nelson Park playground surface. And then the Friendship Swing. I see people are utilizing it every
Yeah.
time. It is.
Yes.
We've went down several times. I've taken the kids down and there are people on it every time. Really?
We are waiting on the rubberized playground matting, the flooring. I think Doug said it's anywhere from June to July. It's just a supply chain issue. So once that gets there, we'll have to dig out what's in there. And the reason we put that in is so it could be functional. I think we went down to talk to Frank before that race, and we could have probably built a pool in there, how deep that was. And so I made the judgment call to say, hey, let's get something in there before somebody got hurt. And so we did put some fine rock in there, some AB3 and stuff. Yeah, again, we drive through there a lot, and it seems like somebody's always on it.
So it'll have like the pour in place rubber, or is it a tile?
It will be the chips.
Okay.
Is that the same plan for Nelson Park?
Yes.
Surface?
Yes.
So will those be done at the same time, or are they on a different?
It'll be the same time. Yes, it'll all come bulk to us. It'll all come to us in bulk.
Is that ADA compliant, the rubberized chip?
Yes, it is. Yes, it had to be for that grant. So yes.
Okay. right, do members have any other items they would like to discuss? Frank, do you have anything?
No. We've covered everything that I highlighted from the previous meeting.
Okay. Seth?
Bathrooms at the lake, it's lake season. How are they? Are we ready to go or?
I'll go that far.
Okay.
No, I don't. I'll be honest. I haven't been out there to look. I mean, we can go. You know, I can go out and check for sure. That's all I can tell you. You know, I can go out and check them and make sure they're good. And,
Frank's looking at me strange.
Well, Lake Advisory Board has
Mhm.
got a project that they're dealing with on that.
Okay. I never know if that park is part of Park
Well-
Advisory Board or Lake Advisory Board, and it's always in limbo on
Yeah,
when it was
so,
brought up before. It's like, well, that's this person's part, and that person says, well, no, that's this person's part. So
so what we did a couple meetings ago was I started attending the Lake Advisory Board meetings.
okay,
Not their actual board meetings, but their committee that was working on that specific project.
okay,
And the engineer has developed plans for campground there, shower house there, and I think that's tabled currently based on some other plans being discussed for selling of additional lots and so forth. So it's all kind of grouped into one big project, I think. Is that accurate?
It is, yeah. Yeah, and that is our priority one, is to get a couple of ADA bathrooms off of the end
Okay.
of the big shelter house.
okay.
But it wouldn't hurt, Brad, I'm sure, to go ahead and look at it in the meantime and make sure.
Well, we ought to be looking, and we do have somebody staffed out there,
Mhm.
looking at the porta potties and we should be looking at the shelter house to make sure the beach area shelter house is fine, cleaned up and everything, because you're absolutely right. I think the weather's supposed to change again, but it should be getting time for people to go to the beach and it should be looked at. You're exactly right.
And Doug's on that, right?
Doug's on, yes.
Oh,
Yes. I'll talk to him, and like I said, we've got somebody out there full-time mowing, and he picks up trash, he dumps trash every day, so he can be on the lookout for that.
Seth, do you have anything else?
No.
Okay, Chris?
Just being new, don't know if it's, I'm sure it's been discussed before, but is there like a dedicated mowing team for Gun Park? Or do they just make their rounds from park to park? Is that how the parks are moved?
We have a designated mowing crew that's down, it's really 1 to 2 people that's down there full-time. We also have one at Riverfront. We also have 1 to 2 at the lake. But they also have Nelson Park and various other entities that I didn't even know we had.
There's 20,
So-
I was told there's 27 different
Yes, it's,
locations that they mow.
yeah,
And
it
Gun
was-
Park is one of those.
yeah, and it takes a long time. And so, yes, really 2 people are pretty much designated all summer long. That's what they do.
Okay. The reason why I asked is, Frank and I were discussing earlier today, there's a lot of people, not to focus so much on Gun Park, but that's because it has to make the bulk of the trails in the woods. How much trouble would it be to have them hit a section up once a month to go in and mow it, weed it?
No chance.
No chance.
No chance.
Gotta ask. Gotta ask. I'm sure, like I said, I know.
It's been addressed.
Other than that,
Okay. Troy, do you have anything you would like to discuss?
I would like to ask about the monarch pollination habitat. Is that volunteer run, and what's the status on that?
It is volunteer run, I believe, a former board member and a citizen. There are probably others, but I know the 2 of them have kind of initiated it and have planted the area. Do you know where it is currently planted at? Yes. So, and I can give you their names if you would like to contact them, or I don't know. Honestly, I don't know if they have any other plans in place. But they are the ones who planted what is currently there.
Okay, so when a volunteer group asks and gets something like that, how is that followed, or does the advisory committee just leave alone until somebody says we have a problem, or how does that? Where does that, when they've been given permission, how's that overseen?
She came before the city commission and got approval. Alice
Okay.
did.
I think so who maintains it?
I think she does.
Okay.
She's maintaining it.
So they're just left alone until it.
Unless we see there's an issue.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great question.
Yeah.
Well, I'm interested in it.
It seems like someone else in this room might know about this.
If I go stomping around in there, am I going to be on camera and come get me?
It depends on where you stomp at.
I did talk to Allison fairly recently and said, when's this stuff going to start growing? And she said, it's growing. And I said, it is? She said, it's going to be a few years to fully develop. It's like, oh, okay. I'm not that patient.
Oh,
Is that right?
I want butterflies now.
You're right. Yeah. Okay.
Well, I'm more worried about the bees.
Yeah.
So I think that's the typical procedure. If any group wants to do, wants to see something happen, to take it before the commission.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Anything else? Okay. I think I had
Do we have letters?
updates. I have.
Where?
They attached you to
They're on the back of the agenda.
Thank you. So, we need to make a recommendation for a new board member, and I believe there are 2 letters of interest attached. Okay. I would entertain discussion or a motion.
I will suggest that Gary Billions has been very involved in the community for years. And pleased to see a request from him. I would also add that John Crane is very involved in helping with the trails. And I personally like to see him on this board because I think he has a vested interest, as does anybody obviously, but I think he's earned that. But as has Gary, because of his involvement with the community forever. So I'm going to hold off on making a motion yet and see what others have to say.
Okay. I'm probably a little bit biased here because I know John from church. I know him from Kiwanis, and I've heard of Gary. I've heard wonderful things. I've never actually personally met him. Probably one of those people I know him if I saw him on the street, but I know John personally. And why I like John being on the board is he's also the president of Kiwanis, which is a global organization dedicated to improving the lives of children, one community at a time. So the purpose of that whole group is to make kids' lives better, which includes parks. So I think he would be very, very involved, and also bring the strength of that organization to this board for when we do have volunteer projects that we need help for. So I've heard wonderful things about Gary, but I'm biased on this. John's my man, and I think that he is part of Kiwanis is a huge asset to what we are trying to accomplish. That was a passionate speech.
Yeah.
John, if you're watching, yeah.
You probably
Wait a minute, we
would
get
know.
that?
Gary's out walking his dog quite a bit, so you probably would know him if you saw him.
I'm sure I would. I've heard his name so many times, and it's always been positive stuff. And Gary has helped with this, and this, but I don't know him like I do John.
Any other discussion?
We can't bring them all on.
I'm sorry.
No.
Is there one opening?
Oh, one.
One opening.
One.
We have a 6-person current board. We have a 7-person board, and there's 6 currently on the board. Right, Diane?
Correct.
You're the one holding us to task.
If there's anyone else have any comments, are we ready to make a motion and vote?
I would entertain a motion.
I make a motion for John Crane.
Is there a second? Roll call, please. Thank you.
Frank Halsey,
Yes.
Jana Walker,
Yes.
Seth Needham,
Yes.
Troy McClellan,
Yes.
and Christopher Catalano.
Yes.
Sorry.
Sorry.
That must have been a good speech. Unanimous.
Wow.
Very moving, very moving.
I do what I can.
Yeah.
Sorry, Gary.
Okay. Well,
I make a motion to adjourn.
You're quick.
I usually do it at the start of the meeting.
I know you do.
I'm gonna vote no just to keep right.
I was gonna ask the gentleman, Kelly and Brad, if they had anything else that they.
About everything we've looked into.
Diane informed me that they have a 5 o'clock meeting as well, so.
We must vacate.
Do we want to schedule our next meeting, and do we want to stay on quarterly meetings, or since we have middle of park season and a lot of stuff going on, do we want to? And again, it's middle of crazy time for work, so summer vacations and everything else. So
Good question. I'm up for whatever. Someone want to suggest?
Although quarterly doesn't seem often enough, in light of summertime and vacations and with what the city's got on their plate, I think quarterly would work for the next meeting, and then we can address that issue after that. So I'm looking at my calendar. We're in May, so you got June, July, August. We'd be looking at the middle to the latter part of August for our next meeting.
Why don't we do this? Let's let Brad and I work on these project lists, and then we'll call this summer and then go to a quarterly at the end of summer. But we should have something put together here in a few weeks that we can, maybe a month, but anyway, we'll try to get everybody together and discuss what we've got.
okay.
I'd like to get you guys' kind of input, thoughts, as we have some ideas. We were thinking like on the wood bathrooms, we want to metal them inside and out instead of just keep painting them. So we're trying to get high impact for longevity, and so we'll probably put those plans together and maybe call a meeting and let you guys look it over and see what you think.
So are you suggesting that we hold off on scheduling a meeting until we
Yeah,
hear
let's
from you?
hold off and we'll put things together and reach out to you so we can. I don't want to wear you out having a meeting. I mean, it'd be this fall, obviously on a quarter towards the end of summer, but we should have something together pretty soon that I want to try to get it out there so the guys can be planning on it, whoever the contractors are.
That'd be great.
Great,
Yeah.
all right.
I have a motion.
I second
Your
that.
motion is on. So, all right.
Okay, so,
Yes.
yes. I'm on the wrong page. Okay, Frank Halsey, yes. Seth Needham, second.
No. Oh, yes.
Jana Walker,
You outvoted.
Troy,